Okay, everybody, wait, stop, let's go back 5 minutes earlier. You know, sometimes I like to look at YouTube channels and I see videos that they've made that look really cool and I want to copy them, but I can't because that would be stealing, and I really love this idea for a video, but I might... All of that to say, I'm going to be building out of blocks that start with the letter A. I nearly said colour A for a minute there. I have no clue why. Why didn't I watch the video? Why didn't I watch the video and see how difficult it was? What? This is not a lot of blocks. It's a very small amount of blocks. It's not good for someone who likes the texture a lot. I mean, I don't like the texture, but I have the texture because it's what you guys are here for. But anyways, I guess I'm working on my shaping skills this time around. By the way, this video is not claiming in any way that actually stole from me. That was just a whole big joke segment to keep you entertained and watching the video. No, actually, the videos she does are actually really good, and after this one, I definitely recommend checking hers out if you don't check out mine, and that'd be brilliant. Anyway, let's get into the time-lapse and talking about how painfully annoying this structure was to build. So the first thing I'd like to mention about this base was the insane amount of detail I had to put into it. And that's not even like covering like a small amount of base. This is probably the most detailed base I've done in an insanely long time. Maybe since my first bases, because I didn't know how to build back then. I was just like cramming as much random detail into bases as possible. But it's really the only thing I was left available to do with this base. Now, when you come across that strategy, there are negatives and positives to doing it. Because what you get is you do get a very crammed looking base, but you also come up with a ton of designs you wouldn't have came up with anywhere else. Like the trapdoor windows here, I would have never used those in a regular base. And do they look the best? Probably not. But is there a niche scenario in the future where I could use them in a base? Probably, yeah. So it's really cool that I had the opportunity to learn lots of new designs with using this base. And one block that you don't use, I don't know why people wouldn't use it in their base, Ancient Debris, that also starts with an A. For some reason I had netherite in my head when I was making this base. But Ancient Debris starts with an A, never use it in bases. And there are quite a few cool designs you can come up with it. To be fair, it's an expensive block, so I don't think I'm going to be using it too often in my bases, but having it some every now and then as like a little rocky surface might be pretty cool. And one thing I had to do with this base, because I had leaves and I had the acacia logs, I wanted to make a tree, an acacia tree, because I've been doing a lot of work with trees recently, and I think this one turned out quite nicely, especially since I didn't look at any reference images in the slightest for this. I just built it off the fly and I was like, oh, that looks decent. I probably didn't need to texture it with andesite there. I saw that then and I was like, yeah, that doesn't look amazing. I just had to get the texturing out of my system, otherwise I was going to literally explode. But the tree, for the lack of blocks that I had to work with, turned out really nicely, and I had to work a lot on the shape of it to get it looking as good as it did. One thing I've been incredibly fortunate with recently is I've been building for Ish, the YouTuber, and that's given me the opportunity to be around a ton of other builders and talk about projects and just have a ton of fun with that. And it's just been amazing, and I've learned an absolute ton about shaping, about detailing my builds. And I think I've been able to share a little bit of my knowledge on texturing, but mainly I think I've learned from the people I'm around. And honestly, they are amazing builders, and I couldn't have had a better team there. Honestly, these guys are amazing. So thanks, guys, if you're watching this video. Probably not, because I don't share my YouTube stuff with them too often. But you know, thank you. But yeah, I reckon this base wouldn't have turned out as good as it had if it wasn't for those guys. Now, to be fair, towards when we got to the back of this base, I was kind of just adding in random detail. I mean, towards the front there was a purpose. I was trying to make a mine type of exterior, but when I got to the back I still tried to stick with that mine exterior thing, but it was just felt more safari, or like I was just adding in a random rocky wall on the side of the base for no particular reason. And that is exactly true. There was a random rocky wall there for no particular reason. I think I was like, it was going to be, I gave it like a lore reason, like it was a rock stockpile or something, but it does look a little weird, but it's detail. And overall, the base for the Honestly, this is the hardest challenge I've ever done on this channel. And I was actually shocked because behind you can see a mega base, and that was a challenge. But this one was more difficult because I was adding so much detail in so many different areas. It was incredibly tough. One thing I actually really loved, and probably my favourite feature on the entire base, is the open hatch on like the Steam. I don't know what it's called honestly, but the open hatch there, it looks so cool, and I'm so proud of how that turned out, and I'm so proud of just being able to add that into the base. And just when you look at all the details in the base, a lot of them are random, a lot of them are everywhere, but that base, that part there feels like it's very linked together, very part of the base, meant to be there. And I just like to mention this, it may be just me, but after I finished making this, I was thinking, man, this looks like something Lego would create. This is like a super Lego base. It might be that front area at the top. This base took me an hour and 21 minutes, which wasn't very long, but it's definitely one of the harder bases that I've ever had to design. This thing is packed with detail to the nth degree. I tried to, at least. I tried to pack it with as much detail. As you get to the back, it gets a lot more bland because I ran out of ideas. I think this space looked really cool for what I was trying to pull off. Now the thing is, it's heavily detailed. One might say it's block vomit. I don't know. Is that the right word? It's just an insane amount of depth for no apparent reason. But what I want to do now is, if you're wondering if I'm going to do the interiors, that is a solid no. Never touching an interior again after all the work I've done on interiors recently. No, what I want to do is, let me get my axe out. I'm going to copy this guy to the right, and then I'm going to basically build it, not rebuild it, but add div parts in that I would have added if I had all my blocks available. So I want to see how I would upgrade this base if I had all my blocks available. Okay, so the first thing I definitely would look at is basically the walls, or the andesite, and it's the big part that I didn't like about this thing. I'd have to change it out to add a little more depth and detail there. And that instantly just perfects the opening place. That looks amazing. With the stairs at the front here, I would go and get some polished andesite. I'd change that out. As you can see, I'm just adding like smaller touches that I couldn't add to this base, and that instantly makes that middle icon pop out more, which looks really nice. Honestly, I really love how, just like, you can see what I mean by smaller details can like make a massive difference to a base. Like that instantly makes the entire front section pop out more. This has actually been quite a good challenge though, because most of my bases I rely on shading a lot for texturing, although that area up there is just a bit bland honestly. But this base here, I wasn't able to rely on shading at all, not in the slightest. So it allowed me to create a base that was a bit weirder and stranger and different. But it was pretty cool because I wasn't texturing at all with that. And it's given me a couple ideas for designs I could do. That's pretty nice, isn't it? Using the mangrove as stripes on a netherite base. That looks pretty cool. Yeah, that's pretty sick. And just like minor changes like that, even if they aren't big ones, just minor changes to it to help make the different places look different works so well. And I'm just fixing the areas that I didn't like about the base with blocks that I can use. I do want to say, check out actually Lisa's video after this one, because it's a really good video, and I'm not trying to steal an idea or anything like that. I just really like the idea, and I've wanted to do it for a very long time, but I just never got around to doing it. I'll add some tuff to here, which looks very nice. And then yeah, this here. So this I'll add some of. Well, ignore that, please. I may have forgotten a bit of the tree. But yeah, this tree looks. This tree actually was one of my favourite parts of this build. But yeah, one thing that I'd also change is I'd add some highlights to the tree, because using just the acacia leaves, they don't have the same definition as like something like, what's it called, azalea. They don't have the same like glint as azalea leaves, and it looks a lot nicer like that. So ignoring the fact of big chunks of it being missing, this is what the base looks like after my changes. This is what it looks like before my changes, and I think you can see how limiting yourself with blocks doesn't always create a bad design. You know, with this design definitely pushed me, and if you are already you're already good at building, then definitely try out challenges like this, because honestly, one of the ways that I've improved most recently is by giving myself very difficult challenges to work with, things that I just haven't done in the past. But now, just going away from that, if you do want to steal this idea, credit actually Issa, because not my idea. Secondly, I'd love to see them. So if you do create any videos like this, or you do make a build like this, I always say this: put like a link in the comments or whatever. That's like clearly a YouTube link. No scam links, please. But yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.